What is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're yapping a little bit about the Smite 2 store. A lot of comments have expressed that the Smite 2 store is a little bit too complicated for them. They don't understand it. They can't grasp it. They'd actually prefer to go back to the Smite 1 store. I understand, and I talked about this a little bit in my last video. It is going to have a slightly higher skill floor to learn the store.
That's called motherfucking boys!
And I get it's a little frustrating, but the options for the Smite 2 store, when you become even a slightly better player than what you're like currently at, it will make the game just feel so much better. And until you learn the store, I 100% implore you to just use the auto builds. The auto builds are not that bad. They really aren't. They're a lot better than the auto builds in Smite 1, and they're a lot more basic, and it's just very easy to use them. So with that, if you don't understand the store, use the auto builds. If you want to start to learn the store, I am here to kind of give you a bunch of information and make it try to be as easy as possible. So we're going to keep it on this for a lot. This is from my stream. This is a lot of the basics of the store, the tier 1s, the tier 2s, and eventually we'll move over to the tier 3s. Currently, as is, every single item in the store buys from tier 1 components, and these components are the only way to get that stat at a base level. So this axe is strength. This bow is attack speed. This is some max mana. This is intelligence, max health, cooldown rate, anti-heal, magical protections, crit chance, lifesteal, physical protections. Those are the items that you build into when you want that stat. So think about it like this. I am playing in solo lane against a physical god. I am also playing he's like a mostly physical damage god. I am playing a tank, and I want to build some physical defense. Well, what are you going to do? Straight up, you're going to click on this item, and it's going to bring up a bunch of different tier 2 items that you can build into to kind of choose where you want to go with it. And in this tier 2, it brings you into an item like this, which is 2 of these building into 1 of these. And then with the tier 2s, you can kind of build into tier 3s. But that's the absolute basics of it. All you have to do is think to yourself, what do I need this game? And then you go to these tier 1s and you choose that item, whatever it is, whether you want intelligence, max health, you click it and it'll show you a bunch of the tier 2s. And then from those tier 2s, you can go to the tier 3s. It's very easy when you think of it like that. When it comes to Smite, you would just go to tier 3s and be like, okay, which of these tier 3 items do I need? Do I want this physical defense item, 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 so on and so forth. It was weirdly easy, but also very uninspiring and very simple and very, like, you kind of had to think about what you wanted to buy, but you also kind of didn't. With this one, you really don't have to think, except when you get to like the passives, which passive and stats do you want? Because this one is telling you the item and what you can get from it. The harder part, I think, that people have to grasp is with damage in the game and with intelligence and with strength. So the intelligence item is this diamond, this gem. The strength item is this axe. They provide strength, they provide intelligence. Think of strength more like the physical power. I couldn't think of the thing. Think of strength like physical power, intelligence like magical power, and then think of each and every god in Smite currently, Smite 2. They'll partially scale with strength and they'll partially scale with intelligence. Now, with that knowledge, also think every single god in the game, no matter what, will scale with strength, because auto attacks are 100% strength, 20% intelligence. In that same vein, every god, no matter what, scales with intelligence, because 20% of intelligence goes to your auto attacks. For certain gods, they have certain abilities that scale with intelligence and strength. So this is CERN. This is his 1. Looking at the ability, you can see the spring heal scaling scales with intelligence. The summer damage scaling scales with strength or intelligence, whichever one is higher. The protections from fall that are shredded scale with intelligence. The winter slow scales with intelligence. And that's on top of his 2 scales with intelligence, not the burst part of the 2, the tick part of the 2, and the ultimate damage scales with intelligence. So the CERN build has evolved into being an attack speed, intelligence, and strength build. So he's building like all 3 of them. So that's just an example. If you think of CERN in Smite 1, he is all strength, all physical damage, all physical power. But in Smite 2 now, he's going to be scaling with both. And I think that's the difficult part to kind of decipher, is what is going to be the most valuable. I think it opens up this massive idea of, well, physical CERN is now going to be a thing where you're critting really hard. You're doing a lot of consistent crit damage, potentially. Your 2's burst will be a lot higher. Your 3's burst will be a lot higher. Or you can go a little bit more of an intelligence and intelligence and strength and attack speed build where your on-hit damage is really high with Braggy's Harp, Kins, stuff like that. And I think it just makes ADC feel a lot more exciting. And this ADC in specific becomes deeper than he is in Smite 1. And I think that is like the best thing about Smite 2 is it adds depth to characters that didn't have a ton of depth beforehand. And this is true with characters, even mages that are essentially magical gods. There's a crit Zeus build where because his auto attacks scale with basic attack damage, his crits can get up very, very high. Ymir scales with strength and it scales with crit on top of that. So Ymir crit is actually a thing that is good. Athena, her reach scales. It also does extra damage because it's the reach passive auto and it scales with crit. So it opens up this big idea of so many different ways to play these characters. A jungle crit Athena build, a tank cooldown Athena jungle build, a one-shot Athena poly build, a active use Athena build. It just opens up so many different play styles and depth to the character. And it also then allows characters to be played in certain roles that maybe wouldn't be normal. Maybe Athena becomes an ADC because she can clear well with the reach auto, and she maybe doesn't have consistent damage, but she has that crit damage, and she can still clear pretty well. And that is personally why I like this Smite 2 item store more than Smite 1. Smite 1 is very basic, very, oh, you're playing Hunter? Build these 6 items. Oh, you're playing mid? Build these 6 items. Like, yes, there's a little bit of min-maxing in that, but in Smite 2, there's going to be actual depth and actual min-maxing at the top level, and even at the middle level. Like, there's going to be ways for maybe you're not the best mechanical player. Maybe you're 45 years old and your name is Cerveza and you've been stuck in gold. Maybe now you can start using your brain a little bit because your mechanics aren't there, and you can start leveling up because you just are able to min-max your build better. Maybe you're not hitting as many autos or doing as many abilities that are actually hitting. That is a way for you to now play the game. You play with your intelligence instead of your mechanics. And I think ways to play the game just opens up depth to the game that really is exciting for someone like me, where I played Smite 1 at the top level. I realized that, yeah, a lot of Smite, there was depth to it, but a lot of it came down to mechanics, hitting abilities, maybe a little bit of like macro play. Now there's a lot of micro play that is added, and that's what makes Smite 2 really exciting. But yeah, this was kind of a little bit more broad and generic than I wanted to be. I wanted to get into more specific things, but I think I want to play one more weekend of Smite 2 to really get a feel for the tree, just make sure nothing changes too drastically. But expect after the next alpha weekend that I will start having some builds up for some characters. I'm going to put a Google Doc together that I'm going to be linking in future videos once the second alpha does drop, where you guys will actually be able to see certain builds that you'll be able to try for characters. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have fun with us today. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.